I'm so excited for this next segment with our next guest, Jared Isaacman. He is now the head of NASA. He was, if you remember, he was nominated to be the head of NASA, and then for some reason or another, that was rescinded, and they went a different direction. And I had him on a podcast, I don't even know, a few months back, and he's just fascinating. And I'm talking to him like, you've got to be the head of NASA, and lo and behold, Trump decides we're gonna renominate you, and so he is now the head of NASA. And if you have never seen a NASA launch, I was there for one of the last, or if not the last, space shuttle launch, and I brought my kids. They were too young to remember now, but it is a wonder of the world. And Artemis II is going up here in about a month, I think, and I mean, I'm going to tell you, I will be one of those, even if I have to pull off to the side of the highway, I am going to watch this because we are going back to the moon. This will be the first time that we have gone and sent people to circle the moon one last time before we actually land on the moon again. But Jared is with us now. Hello, Jared. How are you?
Hello, sir. Thanks for having me back.
You bet. It's great to talk to you. Congratulations, first of all, on your appointment, and I'm expecting huge things from you because you are, I mean, finally an entrepreneur in charge of NASA. Can we start with what happened with Crew 11, the space station, for the first time in history of 25 years of the space program and of our labs up in space? We had to bring the astronauts or the crew back because of a health related issue. Can you tell us what happened, and is the astronaut okay?
Sure. I do want to just start by saying, since I heard your intro, you don't have to camp out on the side of the road for the Artemis II launch. I'll certainly make sure we've got a seat reserved for you, especially since I know how much of a fan you are of America's space program and all of the great history you collect at your studio that I was lucky enough to see when I visited. So
yeah,
you can guarantee we'll have a spot for you. And as far as crew, yeah, what an exciting mission, right? I'm sure we'll talk about it. But as far as Crew 11, one of the greatest accomplishments that we've done at the International Space Station is the continuous human presence in space over a quarter of a century, right? And that we're keeping our astronauts alive in an environment that is incredibly harsh on their body. Microgravity does a lot of things to you, from your vestibular system, cardiovascular system, bone density loss. It's a radiation environment, right? But we're there to learn. And we expect that there will be circumstances that will appear. This is why we do extensive training. Our astronauts they're practically physicians. In fact, many of them are. We put them through extensive medical training. We put medical kits in all our spaceships. The International Space Station itself is like almost an urgent care center because they use a lot of those tools for science and research. And then we drill. We train for the day that there is going to be an unexpected health-related incident, and it happened. And everyone did an extraordinary job. The Crew 11 astronauts, there are other expedition mates on the International Space Stations, the flight surgeons in mission control, they all responded accordingly. The incident was stabilized very quickly.
Can you tell us what it was?
So unfortunately, due to the medical privacy rules, I can't tell you exactly what it was, other than clearly it was a very serious situation. Something we had not seen before in space, but had accounted for the possibility. And that is why, we put in motion the option to bring our astronauts home early, which I think really speaks to American leadership in space. We can send our astronauts up, more or less on command, which is what we're going to do with Crew 12, is pull their mission forward, and we can bring our astronauts home as required. And this is very important to President Trump and obviously his position on American supremacy in space. So,
it's bizarre, Jared, because it was not like that under Biden. I mean, how long did we wait to pull those astronauts back last time? And you pulled this off quickly. And when does Crew 12 go up? When are you going to launch them up?
Well, we're evaluating that timeline now because we're also preparing for the Artemis II mission, which is the one you mentioned in your opening comments, where we're going to send our astronauts farther into space than we've ever sent humans before, past the moon, back around the moon, and safely back to Earth. So there's some overlap in timelines now, so we're evaluating both, which is a great problem to have, by the way. I love the idea that we are trying to deconflict multiple, historic spaceflight missions. But I do want to just give a compliment again. The Crew 11 made it easy for us to bring them home early. They had completed all their mission objectives, almost ahead of schedule. They were due to come home in a matter of weeks anyway. They made it easy on us to bring them home early. And then, to your point, we're preparing Crew 12 ahead of schedule, and we're preparing our Artemis II mission.
Okay. Now, Artemis 2, can you explain for people who don't know what this is? What is Artemis 2? How big is the rocket? Why are we going around the moon? Why is this the first time we've done this since the 1970s? Why are we going to the moon again?
Okay, so these are all great questions. So first, there is a big difference between the missions that we've all been watching take place over the last, call it, 5 years. You see a SpaceX Falcon 9 and Dragon send 4 astronauts to the International Space Station almost every 6 months. They do it so often that it looks, it looks easy and it looks routine. It's still extremely hard. That you're taking a Falcon 9 rocket, about 1.8 million pounds of thrust in a controlled explosion, and accelerating those 4 astronauts to 17,500 miles an hour, and you're sending them to the International Space Station. That's hard. You want to know what's harder? Is 8.8 million pounds of thrust accelerating 4 astronauts to nearly 25,000 miles per hour, because now you have to get to near Earth escape velocity, right? Which is what's essential if you're going to send astronauts to the moon or past the moon, where you need to exceed Earth escape velocity to do missions in the future to Mars. So that's what we're talking about coming up with Artemis II. This is a whole nother caliber of rocket. It's going to have 2 solid rocket boosters, throwback from the shuttle era. Even the center core, looks like the shuttle main fuel tank. It's got shuttle main engines on it. It's liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen, and it is going to accelerate those brave crew Artemis II astronauts farther into space than we've ever sent anyone before. And this is step one on a journey to put astronauts back on the moon.
Is this bigger or around the same size as the shuttle?
So this will be the most powerful rocket that humans have ever traveled on. So it is more powerful than the shuttle. It is going to be able to accelerate. It is more powerful than the Saturn V.
Wow. I can't wait. It is, for anybody, I hate to be, but I was a kid in the 60s and 70s, and I got to tell you, this makes me feel like a kid. It is a wonder of the world. If you've never seen this, you will not believe your eyes. It is a wonder you just can't imagine. Man is able to do it. It's remarkable. Why are we? It's
extraordinary, and it's step one. I can't emphasize that enough. President Trump, with his national space policy, he created the Artemis program during his first term, and he said, we're not just going back to the moon to plant the flag and pick up rocks. He wants an enduring presence. He wants America to return to the moon and have the ability to stay. So this might be Artemis 2 coming up, but our children someday are going to watch Artemis 100. This mission sets up a series of launches to and from the moon, the construction of a lunar base, so we can realize the scientific and economic value of being on the lunar surface. So this is a major commitment by the president. It's very exciting.
What are as an entrepreneur, we run out of money at some point if we just keep thinking we can print money. How does this affect us economically? Why is this important to do this? How do we get a payoff on this other than, look at us, we're on the moon?
It's such a great question. So in part, we are fulfilling a promise to the American people. For 35 years, presidents have called for a return to the moon. We've spent over $100 billion to do it. It wasn't until President Trump in his first term where he really committed us on that path by creating the Artemis program. Again, in his second term, recommitting us and establishing the lunar base. So we're delivering on a promise here. It's a promise to the American people and the pioneers from the 1960s who built the foundation that we stand upon today. Second, we don't know what we're going to find out there that could change things here on Earth. On the lunar surface, you could be mining helium-3, which has the potential to change things in energy. It's going to be a more efficient source of fusion power someday in the future. It has applications in quantum computing. Do we want to come in second place on that? Because certainly the Chinese are setting out to do this. The Russians want to do this someday. So we have an obligation for American leadership in the high ground of space. The next stop is the moon, which is what our course is on today. But the president, even through his national space policy, committed us to the investments in nuclear power and propulsion to someday achieve American astronauts on Mars. So to your second point on, is this expensive? It is. But what's different today than it was in the 1960s is it's not all on taxpayers' shoulders. I mean, in the 1960s, we went to the moon with NASA's budget at 4.5% of the discretionary budget. Right now, it's about 0.25% of that. Who's making up the difference? You've got some fantastic entrepreneurs across commercial space industry, Elon Musk at SpaceX, Jeff Bezos at Blue Origin, dozens of other companies putting their resources on the line here for a capability for the benefit of the American people and really the world.
The significance of the United States having a moon base and being the first to have a moon base, what does that mean strategically? I mean, we've been talking about Greenland this week and everything else. I know that Space Force was used for the first time with Venezuela, or at least officially used in a mission like what we saw in Venezuela. What is the significance strategically of a moon base?
Well, really, it's about what you're trying to accomplish on the lunar surface and what you can learn, right? So, if you have a orbiting base above the moon, which we have in our plans called Gateway, that has potentially some benefit from a logistics perspective, but you're not interacting with the regolith, you're not constructing infrastructure, you're not mining, you're not doing in situ resource manufacturing, which is essential to future Mars missions. You're not able to develop a lunar economy above the moon, but you can develop a lunar economy on the moon. So it's vitally important. Certainly the President of the United States, President Trump appreciates the strategic significance of certain real estate out there. No one is better at this than the President of the United States, and some of the most important real estate that's within our reach, where we can, again, begin to realize scientific and economic value. It's on the lunar surface.
Amazing. It is always great to talk to you, Jared. I'm so happy that you are the guy running NASA. I mean, you are born for this moment, and it's a thrill to know you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. I want to leave you with this. Artemis. Do you know what Artemis is? It's Greek. It's ancient Greek, and it is the ancient goddess of the moon, the hunt, protection and precision, and independence and resolve. It is the twin sister of Apollo, as in the Apollo program. The Apollo program was to prove that it could be done, that man could go to the moon. Artemis is meant to prove we belong there, we can live there, and we can build there. This is historic.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.